agahon. Hope everyone is having a good day. Just getting my day started here in Diniwid, Barangay, Balabag, Boracay Island in the Philippines. I got my morning cup of coffee right here. My Copico Blanca. That's my choice of 3-in-1. My friend, actually, Michael from Trece Martires in Cavite, he sent me a picture yesterday. It made me smile because he sent me a picture and he was holding his Copico Blanca, so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Uh, he's been watching our channel. Me and him have become good friends. He lived in Manila before, and then now he's moved to Trece Martires. Good morning, my friend Yavin P. in Australia. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I prepared some notes today just in case there's no questions from people watching the live stream. First off, the weather. The weather is always in point of interest here in the Philippines this time of the year because it's the start of Habagat season already. Officially, there's already one typhoon that passed through the Philippine area of responsibility, tropical depression Auring. Here in the Philippines, they use the alphabet to name the typhoons. Like Auring being Alpha A as the first one. So the next typhoon that we get will be Bravo. They're gonna use the letter B as in Bravo. Expected this month of June, they're expecting another one before the end of the month. They're expecting another weather like a tropical depression, storm. They're expecting another one before the end of June. We average about 18 to 20 weather conditions, typhoon type, like hurricane in the United States compared to a hurricane each year. Normally, a lot of it will hit like the northern Luzon. That seems to be the area that gets hit a lot with typhoons in the Philippines. Like Auring, it hit Batanes area, it hit like Babuyan Islands, that kind of area. Last year, they got hammered last year. There was even a month last year, I think it was October, that area was hit like by 5 typhoons in 1 month. In October, the month of October alone, so we do get typhoons here or hurricanes, but here in Western Visayas, we're kind of lucky as far as typhoons. We don't get hit by them. Rare does it ever, like by the time it hits the typhoons here in Western Visayas, the weekend already, because they have to hit like Eastern Visayas first, and Central Visayas, and then Western Visayas where we're at. So we're pretty lucky. I mean, it brings a lot of rain, it brings a lot of wind, but not the initial destruction of a hurricane. All right. Yori said hi. Hello, Yori. Marcus has, all right. Hello, Marcus, my friend in Germany. Hello. JP, all right. Good morning, JP. Glad you all can join this morning. Tita Marie, all right, Tita Marie. I'm glad I'm seeing people. Oh, peanut butter travels here early. Usually you catch towards the end of the live stream. Good morning. Glad you can make it. Do you still know how to speak Tagalog? I'm learning it now. Yes, marunong akong mag-Tagalog. I'm fluent. Nakakaintindi ako ng Tagalog. I speak it. It's like I maintain my Tagalog because when I lived in the United States, my relatives, in California at the time when I was in high school, spoke to me in Tagalog. Even write in Tagalog. It's hard to write in Tagalog. And then when I joined the military, most of the places that I got stationed, there's a number of us, especially now, I'm sure, because I joined United States Air Force in 1984. Spent 20 years active duty in the United States Air Force. But anywhere I went, like my first assignment at George Air Force Base in California until my last assignment, Misawa Air Base, Japan. Anywhere you go, we have like a little like group of Filipinos inside the base, and we would get together and we would speak in Tagalog. We would do karaoke and sing in Tagalog. So I've always maintained speaking Tagalog and understanding Tagalog. And then now, I know a little bit about Aklanon since I've been here in Aklan province. I've been here now 14 years. Here in the Philippines, different parts of the Philippines, there's 80 provinces. There's just so many dialects. Even here in Aklan province, Aklanon language is spoken here in Aklan province, but the different municipalities, they speak a little different version of Aklanon. It's like people like in Malay would speak a little different from Kalibo. Kalibunhon is what they call Malaynon. And here in Boracay, Boracaynon. There's like a little variety of the dialect. It's pretty interesting, really, because, and then when you travel the Philippines, like even if I travel to Iloilo, they speak, and Rojas City, and in Capiz, they speak Ilonggo is the language, the dialect they speak. And even in Antique, they speak, we're all like attached like province, but it's amazing how the different languages, the different dialects are spoken. I was 3 years old when we moved. The whole family speak English growing up. Lost my culture. That's okay. That is common, Tita Marie. That's okay. But if you do decide to come to the Philippines, it's easy to pick up when you're around it. Like me, it's like I don't have, even with Aklanon now, I might not speak Aklanon well, but a lot of things I understand what they're talking about. Oh, I can hear the rain. It's raining. There's two things that I hear here in the morning. Of course, the roosters. The roosters. The minute I stay here in the balcony here, it's like I hear the roosters. Pretty much the roosters kind of, do their crowing, like, they do that all day long. It's like there's roosters like on the road here because this is like the more local stay here in Diniwid or Barangay Balabag. It's like I do see foreigners once in a while. They're like on motorbikes, but most of the residents that I see here in Barangay Balabag or in Diniwid are locals. Lots of, from the videos you've seen, lots of karinderya and then lots of sari-sari store here. And that's why we've enjoyed it. It's a different side of Boracay. It's a side of Boracay many tourists don't even see, because of course the tourists from Manila, Cebu, Iloilo, the different parts of the Philippines, when they come here, and it's mostly Filipinos now that I see tourists. You still see foreigners, like you'll still see some Chinese, some Koreans, and then Americans, Europeans, but mostly the tourists now here in Boracay are Filipino. And but most of them, when they come to Boracay, they stay on White Beach. White Beach, Boracay is that 4 to 5 kilometer stretch of nothing but white sand. And then you got all the restaurants, the shops, the fast food. You even have like McDonald's now on Front Beach. You have a Kentucky Fried Chicken, Army, Navy, burger, burrito. And then you have all the Indian food, Lil Taj, Epic. It's like a bar restaurant. Just a lot of restaurants, like muchos, like Latin food. A lot of food in White Beach. That's where people go. Here in Diniwid, I have not seen, the only, we have Cafe Drip 2 doors down. It's like a cafe, so Dazzle and I can get like a tapsilog, long silog, and then the karinderya. I did see yesterday on my walk down to Diniwid Beach, I did notice there's like a tiny looking Italian restaurant. It says there, but it was closed. I don't know if they are still open. I'll keep checking. Like I'll keep going there, and I'm thinking I want to try some of their Italian food if they have Italian food. JP, I missed a few days of live stream. Oh, I understand, JP. No worries, no worries, JP. I understand how that is, with work and family. It's like that's why even HD, normally HD is the moderator. And then Janet volunteered yesterday, so I added her as a moderator. And then my friend now, Joel, is volunteering. So if he pops in here, I'll add Joel as a moderator because I don't expect people to be the moderator of the live stream because, people are busy, especially in the US. I know my friends now and then the people that I met on YouTube when I communicate with them offline, off the live stream, like on WhatsApp, on my Messenger, they're just that's the feeling I get because they're still working and when you're working you're on that grind. It's like I know how busy people get. I know how busy people get in the U.S. I had that life for 30 years, so I know how that goes. Tita Marie, when I'm in the Philippines, I'll try to speak in Tagalog and they laugh at me. They say I'm speaking Tagalog Carabao. Carabao, yeah, Carabao. That's okay if they laugh at you. It's not like they're making fun. To them, I think it's just funny. But it's a lot of Filipinos. They appreciate that. They appreciate like I know when Filipinos when they hear a foreigner, like from Europe or America or Canada, try to speak Tagalog or the native dialect, they're impressed with that. They'll smile. It's like, oh, because you're making the effort. You're making the effort to speak the language. But it's not mandatory, man. I know many foreigners here, been living here for many years and don't speak Tagalog at all. It's like because most Filipinos will understand some basic English, the deeper you go into provinces, of course, the less English is spoken. But if you go to like the cities, like Iloilo City, you go there, even Calibo now, English is, you'll be understood by people if you speak English. It's when you get like to like the remote areas where they don't see a lot of foreigners, they don't get a chance to practice their English because you have to realize they do teach English here. The public schools, like I know Liana, she's got an English class, but unless they like are around foreigners or English speaking people, they don't get to practice it. They don't get to practice it. But they're proud, most Filipinos, like even the farmers, even fishermen, like that don't see a lot of foreigners. When they meet that foreigner, they're proud that they can speak a little bit. They'll smile. They're like, it's important to them because, it means that they got educated in English. Because like here in our province of Aklan, I've noticed this, like the farmers and the fishermen, especially the older generation, the people that are my age, nearing 60, a lot of them didn't get educated like past like elementary school, maybe some high school, but a lot of them didn't graduate high school, so they had a little bit of English, growing up, but most of the time they'll probably from TV, from watching television or listening to the radio, it's like but it's a big thing. It's a big thing for Filipinos when they can speak English. Car Guy 2, hi. All right, Car Guy 2.0. All right. Edgar, well, I'm in big trouble. I just speak bad American English. I got to remember to speak slower so people can. Good addition, good comment there, Edgar, because that's important. Americans forget. Like even Dazzle struggles when we have subscribers that we meet. Dazzle will tell me, "Oh, babe, what did he say?" Because Americans talk fast. Fast for a Filipino. And then a lot of times when Americans talk, there's slang. There's slang included, or you have to realize a lot of Filipinos studied English, but it's like book English. It's like they haven't heard like the slang like in California. There's a certain slang, that or even people from the South in the United States. There's a even in Texas, y'all, what's up? And my friend in Boston, my park my car. It's like you're gonna be like, Filipinos gonna look at that. What did he say? But they're friendly here. It's not gonna be an issue. It's like yeah, I think out of all the Asian countries, like if you look at the map of Asia, Southeast Asia, I think the Philippines is probably the most friendliest as far as Americans. Americans have always been liked here. Part of the reason my friend Frederick, when he was doing, he's from Miami, he lives in Iloilo City now for a year. And that was part of the reason why he picked the Philippines was the English. He knew from watching videos, he knew that uh, spoken for most of the part, it's spoken here in the Philippines, English is spoken. And the one thing he liked was like the relationship with Americans and Filipinos have always been good. It's like, the Philippines was an American territory for so long, from when the Americans won the Spanish-American War in 1898. The Philippines was under control of the Americans from 1898 to 1946. That's like 48 years. And then even when the Philippines got their independence in 1946, military bases were here in the Philippines till 1992. Another almost 50 years. There's like Clark Air Base in Angeles City, Subic Naval Base in Olongapo City, and then other bases that, people know about Clark Air Base and people know about Subic, but there was like San Miguel Communications Base, Wallace Air Station in La Union. There's Baguio, Camp John Hay in Baguio. There's Sangley Point in Cavite. There was a lot of military presence here in the Philippines after World War II, all the way up to like 1992. And then even when the American bases were closed, there was like balikatan exercises between Filipinos and Americans have been going on the past 20 years, more than 20 years. There's exercises here in the military exercise that Americans and Filipinos, both at sea and both at land, both in the air, that's been going on here in the Philippines. And now there's like eight bases here, Philippine military bases that Americans are on the bases. They're upgrading the bases. U.S. is investing millions of dollars on this basis because there's troops, U.S. military troops on those bases. There's equipment, there's missiles aimed at China on these bases. So it's like the relationship between America and U.S. Over 100 years have always been good. That's why I think that's why a lot of Americans come here to the Philippines because they feel welcome. Usually you see a lot of like negative as far as Americans that come to the Philippines. Just my opinion now. I ain't trying to wreck. Usually the reason why they end up not, have a bad thing about the Philippines is, the light came off here. But I'm ready. I got Dazzle's light here. Because they're on automatic light here on this balcony. So I have this little light that Dazzle bought me. A lot of times the negativity from it's like stuck. Okay. All right, as long as the light's working. A lot of times there's kind of like a buzzing because of the fan. Let me try. Oh, there you go. I turned off the fan. A lot of times the negativity that you hear from, I'm going back to the U.S. I hate the Philippines. It's terrible in the Philippines. Just my opinion now. A lot of times it has to do with the Filipina that the American met or the Canadian or the foreigner here. A lot of times it's the bad experience with the partner they chose, and then the bad experience with their partner, the bad experience with their partner's family, that turns them off about the Philippines. But for the most part, it's like if you meet a good Filipina, that's why I always preach it to people. Take your time, take your time. Don't be so in a rush to like the first Filipina you meet here. You're in love. You're like building them a house. You're like buying their family a sari-sari store. Don't do that. Take your time. Meet the right Filipina, because what I have seen is that's where usually the anger or like the I don't like the Philippines. Philippines is terrible. Usually is based on the Filipina. It's like a lot of times people that have a good relationship with the Filipina that they meet here, they meet a good partner, they can tolerate everything else here in the Philippines. They're like, oh, I'm good with it's a developing country, power outages, typhoons. It doesn't matter. They still enjoy the Philippines because they meet the right Filipina. It's amazing how that one event, meeting the Filipina, it kind of like that revolves their happiness here in the Philippines. Either they're happy or not happy based on the Filipina. So my advice always is take your time, make sure it's the right Filipina, make sure meet the Filipina's family, get a sense of what the dynamic is. Is the Filipina coming from a good family? Or what's the relationship? Are the Filipina siblings, or are they working, or are they not doing anything? You need to know all that before marrying, especially making that commitment, marrying a Filipina here. Julia, all right, Julia. Okay, JP, I do want to learn basic polite phrases and food names. Oh, you will learn that, JP. Even my friend Gray, when he's been here, he's been picking up a little words like salamat po. Po is like the word po. If you add that to any Filipino phrase, if you say po makes it polite. Like if somebody asks you, is it hot in the Philippines? And you go, mainit po. It's like it's a sign of respect. So po, if you add po at the end of a phrase or a sentence, it's usually like taking, the Filipinos, oh yeah, he's respectful, it's respectful. That's easy, it's like to learn like simple, kamusta, how, magkano, how much, magkano. If you add magkano po, it's like, it's easy. Yeah, you'll pick up words, basic phrases, jumpy. And like I said, if you speak English, if you speak English, most people will understand you. As long as you like talk slow, that's the thing. Americans get frustrated here sometimes. They're like, I can't talk to anybody in the Philippines. They can't relate. It's because sometimes they talk fast, and then again, the culture difference. I know I have a good friend, Brian. That's one thing he misses is like in the U.S. you got that. You can do sarcasm in the U.S. You can, if you're a jokester, if you like to say jokes, and if you tell a joke to a group of Filipinos, chances are they're not gonna understand. It's gonna fly. It's like what, or they're gonna just look at you and not laugh. So that's the one thing. I know. There's a lot of foreigners that come here, and then they don't want to be around other foreigners. But one thing, when you do that, you'll miss the bonding with foreigners, because if you're just like hanging out with your Filipinas family, the conversations that you'll have, it's like they can't relate to a lot of things that you would want to be talking about. That's why it's important, I think. You don't have to hang out all the time with foreigners, but like my friend Frederick, once a week he plays billiards with a group of foreigners, and he doesn't even play well. He said he just like the band. He just likes hearing, Americans talking, Canadians, the English language spoken by all. He just likes doing that. Tita Marie Edgar, LL, at least the Filipinos smile and laugh at me. Yeah, it's always a pleasant experience. Filipinos are just like, even yesterday I was filming on Diniwid Beach. I went to Diniwid Beach. I was going to go to White Beach. And, that's the one thing I love about Boracay is the vibe. People are just, you can tell when people are walking on the beach in groups, they're just smiling. They can't believe they're in Boracay. They're taking pictures. And usually when I pass them, they like look at when I'm filming them, and I'll go, where are you from? And they're proud. Oh, we're from here. We're from here. Hey, Boracay. They're excited to be in Boracay Island. We were in Vietnam, Malaysia last year, and they looked afraid of us. No smiling or trying. Exactly. And that's the thing I wanted to say. It's like when you go to places like Vietnam, Malaysia, it's like, because they're, if you're if you're a foreigner, you're American, you're Canadian, when you're walking, they're almost like afraid that you'll talk to them, that you'll say something to them. It's like, because I've gone to all those countries, and then if you ask somebody, they're gonna just give you the blank stare because they don't understand you, and that's understandable that happens. It's different in the Philippines. When you travel the Philippines, you go to, like, especially the cities, you'll go to Iloilo City, and then you're gonna run into other foreigners, on other expats. So it's easier to maneuver the Philippines. That's why I think, more, there's a lot of people that long term look at the Philippines as a good option, because it's easier to get around, understand people. If you try a country where you go to a country that they don't speak English, that's an obstacle in itself. Because like me, when I lived in Korea in the 80s, and then towards 2000 to 2004, I was stationed in Japan. Anytime I traveled away from the military base in Japan, it was hard, like that nobody spoke English. I mean, they're polite. The Japanese are like the coolest people. They're like the most polite and kind people. But when you're like on the road on a long road trip, and you have to pull over, ask directions or something, looking for something, there's nobody to ask. Even the gas stations in Japan, you go in there, it's like, you can't ask anybody. You have to rely on other people that hopefully you'll flag down another American, another military person to get directions. A lot easier to get around here in the Philippines, because English is widely spoken. And then the other thing is the visa. It's like the Philippines has one of the more relaxed tourist visa programs. It's like, if you're like 50 and under, these other countries, they won't let you stay long in their country as a tourist. They're gonna want to know, why are you staying long in Thailand, or why are you staying long in Vietnam? What's your long-term purpose here? Man, here in the Philippines, I know people here that's been here on a tourist visa for like over 3 years, because the only requirement here is you can keep extending your tourist visa here up to 3 years. Once you hit before the 3-year mark, the only requirement in the Philippines is for you to leave the country for 1 day. You can just fly to Thailand, Hong Kong, Taipei, a cheap flight, $200, $250 round trip. Come back the next day, and your 3 years start again. I know people talk about the retirement visa, SSRV, or when they marry the Filipina 13A. Once you marry a Filipina, that would be the way to go. It's cheaper than the tourist visa. But, you're not going to find another tourist visa program anywhere in Southeast Asia that I know of, where you can stay for many years on the tourist visa. There's people here, they're not supposed to. There's people here on the tourist visa, and they're running businesses here in the Philippines. They're not supposed to do that, but there's ways to maneuver around that. So very relaxed. As long as you follow the system, follow the Philippine rules, you're not obnoxious, you don't cause a scene, man, you can live many years here. As long as you don't get drunk and start yelling at Filipinos, or that guy Batali doing crazy stuff for YouTube. As long as you don't do stuff like that, you can live many years here in the Philippines, and nobody will like bother you, especially here in the province. If you pick a province like Aklan, Capiz province or Iloilo province or Antique province, man, it's like you can live a peaceful life, long life, and nobody will bother you. Ron Navy, all right, Ron Navy. Good morning, my good friend, my brother Ron. Yeah. That's true. I mean, that's true, Ron. Most Filipinos' English is a million times better than my Tagalog. I know. I mean, the thing in the Philippines, then, it's just so many dialects. So, like, even for me, when Dazzle and I travel to Cebu, or, they speak a different version, different dialect, different Visaya, So, it's kind of like, there's so much to learn. But Tagalog is if you can understand or have a few words that like magkano po, like how much is this, kumusta po, how are you, just basic Tagalog goes a long way to Filipinos. They'll like you'll be liked more, people will smile to you more because they're impressed that you're trying to learn the language. And I know most Americans, when they come here, they see that, that as long as you're here in the Philippines, respectful of the culture, understand that you're a visitor here. You're not, this is not your country. As long as you're respectful to the Filipino, the locals, man, you're gonna have a good life here. Your locals here will welcome you. It's like I'm sure Ron, I'm sure you experienced people you don't even know if they're like drinking in a corner sari store, and you're walking, they go, hey, come on, have a shot, have a drink. It's like people are friendly here. Tita Marie, why I'm worried visiting other countries nearby, not able to understand them or them understanding. Yes. I mean, I've been in that situation. Edgar. I visited Hong Kong. Hong Kong is like a big city, big metropolis, but like when you're there, it's hard to talk to anybody. You can't even ask them for, where's the bathroom? Where's the restaurant? You can't even ask that. You're like, and then their signs are in Chinese, you're going like, but, and you'll get that when you travel in Southeast Asia, but you won't get that in the Philippines, If you're looking for here they call it CR, comfort room is what they call restroom. If you say restroom, they might, what's that? What's a restroom? Am I resting in that room? It's called comfort room, CR for short. If you say CR, Filipinos, if you say, where's the CR? They'll know that. They'll direct you toward the CR. Now, it might not be the cleanest CR, that's one thing here. It's like, it's hard to find a good comfort room or a good toilet. And chances are, they won't have toilet paper in there. Toilet paper is not one thing that you see in bathrooms here. It's like the nicer places, nicer hotels would have will have toilet paper and tissue paper when you wash your hands, but like a normal CR in a local Filipino restaurant, you just don't see it. You might see a bucket. Of water and tabo. It's called tabo. It's like to scoop the water. That's about it. If that. So that's an adjustment. That you'll have to learn here when you come to the Philippines, is that CR, that comfort room. And a lot of times, unfortunately, they're not maintained well. They're not the cleanest, but it is what it is. It's like even here in Boracay Island, when you're walking Front Beach, on Front Beach itself, that 4 to 5 kilometer stretch of Front Beach, there is no public restroom. I've never gotten that. It's like you're basically at the mercy of like restaurants or hotels letting you use their CR, their comfort room. Just imagine that. 4 to 5 almost kilometers of beachfront with restaurants and shop. No public restroom. No public shower on the beach. It's like, it's a top class destination, one of the tourist best beaches in the Philippines. But no public restroom or no public shower. You're coming off the beach, but it is what it is. Those are the kind of things when you're here, you're going to learn, you're going to see, In the US, when I lived in Long Beach, California, I mean, coming off the beach, you have public restroom on the beach. You have like showers, because you got to rinse off that salt water on you. But that's the difference. That's the difference. Again, it's a developing country. It's not in the culture to expect, to expect that, to have that. Tita Marie, Edgar, it's fun to travel. Use Google Translate. Best to travel with a partner who's yes, yeah. That's a very helpful. That now they have AI, they have Google Translate, they have apps. They're like, at least you can type on the app, show them, and then they can type back and show you. At least that has helped traveling. That has helped traveling. Not that I have traveled. I mean, I haven't traveled. The last time Dazzle and I traveled, I think before the pandemic, it was like 2018, 2019, we went to Singapore. That was the last time we went outside the country. I'm not big on traveling anymore because it's like especially after the pandemic, I know it's harder to travel. There's a lot more rules, e-travel or online, and it's just for me, I've done enough traveling in my time. I don't mind just traveling here in the Philippines, Panay Island. Spend most of our vacations. Because I don't like the plane delays. Lost luggage. It's very crowded. Very crowded at airports. I'm still immunocompromised, so I still wear a mask often. So, that crowd thing now, it's like when I'm with a lot of people, big crowd, it's not fun for me. I rather be away from crowds. JP, I think proper research before you move, having realistic expectation, improve your chances of having. Yes, definitely, JP. And I know you're doing the right thing. I'm not just talking to you. Our communication, even when you email me stuff that you're thinking about, very important. Very important anywhere you decide. I mean, the Philippines is not the only Southeast Asian countries. I have known people that subscribers of ours tried the Philippines, didn't like the Philippines, and now are in Thailand. That happens. Nothing wrong with that. That's why I always tell people, you're not gonna really know whether you like the Philippines or not until you come here. And it's not like, okay, came to the Philippines, now I'm stuck in the Philippines. If you prepare properly, if you save enough money, and like I said, when you come here, don't build a house, don't buy anything, just rent, travel light, don't be sending like 10 balikbayan boxes here. That's gonna make it hard for you to move, Move here with like a max, like 2 suitcase, max, in my opinion. Backpack. That way, if you don't like it, you can just jump on the plane and go to Vietnam next, go to Thailand next, go to somewhere else, It makes it harder for you to move if you're like, the minute you land in the Philippines, you already buy land, you already buy land or build a house in your Filipinas land, things like that. You're putting down immediate roots, and you don't know how that relationship is gonna go. And I'm sure you've seen that on YouTube, how there's been vloggers that I've seen, like they get here, they meet the Filipina, they build this like nice home in the Filipinas land. Next thing you know, they're not together. Next thing you know, it's like they have to sell the house, and then it's that's why I said, meeting that right Filipina, man, that's life changing. That's the one that's most important thing that you're gotta focus, gotta make sure you vet the Filipina, make sure you know the Filipina's family, what her goals are in life. You might be retiring here in the Philippines, you love the Philippines, you want to retire, but the Filipina that you meet, she has intentions of going to your country, to the America. She wants to go to America. That changes your retirement significantly, because, and I see that happen. I've seen that happen many times now, where and to me, it's like, you're dreaming of the Philippines, you're wanting to go to the Philippines, retirement, you want the peaceful life, you come to the Philippines, And then just because you meet a Filipina, you marry, now you're all going back to the US. You kind of gave up on your dream, of an easier life, retirement life, quiet life. And then now you're packing up and go taking your Filipina to the US, and then that's a whole new dynamic when you go with that, because an adjustment for your Filipina. And then if you had given up your life in the United States, like sold your house, sold your car, you got to start over again, so, some things to think about, some things to think about. Talor. All right, thank you. Can you say hi? Kamari. Hi, Kaylee. All right. Thank you. Thank you. That's so kind that you're watching our streams. Watch us every. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Vegas with Gambles. Good morning. Good morning, Vegas with Gambles. Good morning. Magandang umaga. Teller said hi. All right. All right. JB Manalang. Good morning, Gino and Dazzle. When she wakes up, yes, yes. Dazzle. Actually, Dazzle will wake up earlier today. Maybe she might be even. And I don't hear her because she said she was gonna. She wanted me to add her as a moderator. She might post something here, and then I'll add her a moderator because we're gonna go to the airport today. Our good friend Gray, he's finally he's leaving. Finally, we've had so much fun with him the last 3 weeks, but he's ready to move on. New adventure for him. He's heading to Cebu City, and then after Cebu City, he's heading to BGC. It's been a great. I mean, that's the whole part of the reason why we're here in Boracay. We wanted to hang out with our friend, but we have to get to his place at 9:30, and then make sure get him in the ferry, take him to the airport in the mainland Boracay airport. So we're gonna give him a send off. Make sure that he gets on the plane. Make sure he doesn't miss his flight. Help him with the suitcase and things like that. Edgar, so since I'm not Catholic, is it okay to date a Filipina? Nun? So I know. She has a nun? You can't date a nun, man. Nuns, they don't date. They don't date, Edgar. It's not a big deal now if you're not Catholic. It's not that's not a big deal. That's not a game changer here in the Philippines. It's like I know majority of people are Catholic. But there's other religions. There's other religions. There's people that don't really participate in religion. It's not frowned upon or anything like that. It's not. The older generation probably were more focused on religion. I would say, like I know I went to all boys Catholic school, so I know all about all about Catholic and all that. 70s, I attended Letron College in Manila, an all boys Catholic school. But now especially this generation, they still go to church, but it's not like they're not like us. Not when I was growing up. It's like very strict. We had very strict. Our parents, people above us were very strict about following the church rules and all that. Now it's more relaxed. Social media. They're like they not a big deal. Not a big deal if you're not a Catholic. You'll be, many Filipinas will date you here when you come here. Expect to marry and financially support the Filipina, family, relatives, in her barangay. I don't know about the whole barangay, it's like, but I, expect that, for me, I do, it's like Dazzle, I married Dazzle, Leanna, she's Dazzle's sister, I support her. And now mom lives with us, their mom. For me, it's the, now I'm not going to support everybody else in the family. And, we've helped Dazzle's younger brother, help him, sent him through college. Now he's got a job, so he's on his own. I don't mind helping a family like Dazzle's family. They're my family now too. Like I even told Dazzle's got little nephews, Gub Gub, Dudoy. They're like 6 years old, and Tupe is 9, and then Needs is 12. And I've even told them when it's time for them to go to college, I'll pay for their college because college is not expensive here. You can go to college here in the province for $1,000 a year for tuition. I know there's other expenses. I might not shoulder all the expenses, but I would at least, I'm willing, I've already told them if they want to be a seaman, they want to be a nurse, whatever, I'll pay for their college because I can afford it. It's like, I can't take my money with me. It's like I might as well leave a good legacy. At least Dazzle's family now. Dazzle was the first to graduate college in her family. Miko is the second one. Now, Liana will be the third one to graduate college. So, if anything, I think at least I'm leaving a good legacy that these people, when I'm gone, when I'm done with life here on earth, I know they'll be like, oh, Kuya Ginno really took care of us. He cared for us. I don't mind that legacy. I don't mind that legacy at all. And for me, they're my family. To me, family's family. They take care of me when I'm sick. When I got sick with the cancer, when I went through the treatments, family rallied and assisted Dazzle and I. So to me, it's like, not a big deal that I have to help Dazzle's family. I don't know about the barangay now. I won't help the whole barangay. I don't make that kind of money. I'm on a pension. I'm on a military pension. JB Manalang. Hey Gino, I see that tennis form still there on your pickleball. I see you like your forehand. Yeah. I mean, I struggle even with the pickleball because like even when I played tennis, I used to my backhand's always been like two-handed, and it's a shorter paddle, and I couldn't quite. That was the first time on the pickleball, but I know I'll get good at it because I played ping pong, I played tennis before. I know the dynamics, and I was trying. I can't keep up with Dazzle now. She got like energy for days. I mean, Dazzle was like. I was like, oh man, I'm tired, babe. I need a break, babe. So I was like, sit down, I'll drink water, and here's Dazzle. She's running laps on the tennis court. I'm like, oh dang, I am old, man. I felt old because I see Dazzle. So she's running around on the court while I'm sitting down on a break drinking water, man. Player 666. Unfortunately, marijuana is not legal in the Philippines. You don't want to get caught with marijuana here in the Philippines. You would be arrested and sent to jail if they catch you with marijuana here. It's not legal. Not legal in the Philippines. Micah Santos. Where in the Philippines did I grew up? Okay, I grew up in Manila. We lived in Quezon City, but I was born in Tondo. Manila, and then we moved to Quezon City. And then I went to Letran College in Intramuros, Manila. That's where I graduated elementary school, an all-boys Catholic school. I did the whole, sacristan was what they call it here, like assisting the priest during service. I did that. All of us did because it's a Catholic school and we took turns. So, but then I moved to the United States in Los Angeles. And then I studied, my high school years were in Long Beach, California. I graduated from Long Beach Wilson High, go Bruins. And then after I graduated high school, I was 17 years old. I signed up for the military. I was joined the United States Air Force, spent 20 years active duty in the United States Air Force. That's allowed me to retire here in the Philippines early. I retired here when I was 45 because I started collecting a military pension. I have monthly, for the last 21 years. I was 37 when I first collected my military pension, and I collected today till the day I die. I'm getting paid by the military. Tita Marie, Tagalog Carabao. That's funny, Carabao. Yeah, no, right? You hear that? You hear that here, Tagalog Carabao. JB, oy, nosebleed, sobrang deep English, ha? Yeah, Tita Marie, you hear that too. When Filipinos, they always say, I'm getting a nosebleed from your English. if a local here, you start talking them fast in English, and they're gonna say, I'm getting a nosebleed. It's so fast, I can't understand it. It's causing a nosebleed. JB, hey Vegas, Will, you get some sleep with the newborn. Oh yeah, that's right, that's right. The baby, the girl, the baby girl, the baby girl. Do the arm thing. Okay, I don't get that. Sorry, man. Micah Santos, I enjoy watching your vlogs. So relaxing. Makes me want to retire early and go back to the Philippines. I would love to see you and Dazzle Liana in other part of the Philippines other than Boracay. More likely you'll just see us like in Panay Island. It's just easy for us. Dazzle hates to fly. We have older videos of Dazzle and I going to Luzon, going to Cebu, going to Dumaguete. But I think now it's just easier for us, like Capiz, like Rojas City, where Dazzle and I are going there this coming Saturday at the Canadian Beaver, their 1-year anniversary of the Canadian Beaver. So Dazzle and I will go there. And then Antique Province, we haven't really ventured in. We were gonna go travel in Antique Province, but my friend in Hawaii, he got sick the day of his flight. He got food poisoning in Hawaii, of all places. So that we had to postpone that. And then Iloilo, from Iloilo, we could do Guimaras. It's a short ferry ride, so Guimaras Island. But traveling, even here in the Philippines, it's like I'm not big on traveling anymore, just because it's not easy to travel. It's like even on the ferry, it's like it takes a lot of planning. And then Liana goes to school. She starts school on Monday. Like tomorrow, she starts school tomorrow, so it's not easy for us to travel. And then the cost, it's like we're still living on a budget. It's like I'm retired. My only income is like my military pension, and then now a little bit on YouTube. We don't make much money on YouTube, but it helps. It helps, with our income. Hello, Slovakia. All right, Slovakia. Hello. Yes, very Raw Navy, my good friend, my brother. He goes, yes, very friendly. My biggest thing I've had to understand is patience. Here in US, it's rush. Now. Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Here in the Philippines, I always say it on the videos, on the vlogs. It's island time here. Nothing's in a hurry here. It's like if you hurry, you're gonna end up waiting anyway. Everything here in the Philippines will require your patience, because even a simple trip to the grocery store, the line is gonna be long. You're gonna be standing in line. A simple trip to the ATM, especially in the city. If we're in Iloilo City, even in Calibo, there's gonna be line at the ATM. Don't ever want to go inside the bank for a transaction. That's even worse. If you have to go inside the bank for any type of transaction, there's gonna be a long queue. It is not uncommon to be given a number or at a bank here, and you'll spend at least an hour in the bank just so you can speak to a teller, or just so that you can deposit a check, or just because you got to exchange dollars. Going to a bank, I try to do all my banking using ATM, because that's the quickest way to get your money here. But like Ron Navy is saying, you have to bring a lot of patience here. Nothing is in a hurry here. I'll give you an example. If I was in the US to renew my driver's license, you can even do your renewal online. If you don't have a ticket, I've known states that allow online renewal on the driver's license. Or if you do go to the Department of Motor Vehicle, it's not going to take you an hour maybe. You go in there sometimes on your lunch break, and the person that's helping you can handle everything. Like whoever's helping you at the counter when you get up there, I'm renewing my license, they can take care of you, print it, and then give you your license. Here in the Philippines, if you have to renew your driver's license, You are lucky if you get that done in one day. You are lucky if you can't finish it in one day and you got to come back the next day. That's the more common thing that will happen, because like here in our province of Aklan, they've had satellite. Now they have called satellite LTO, Land Transportation Office, but the main office is in Calibo. And if I show up there at 8 a.m., there's gonna be at least 100 people waiting for them to open at 8, and there's no like number system. Everybody just kind of like where the entrance to the thing, where the guard will be opening the door, they just congregate in front of it. And you're gonna require like a medical like a eye check, hearing, color blindness test. So you gotta pay for that. That's a separate line. That's a separate. You gotta wait, sit down and wait for your medical. And then when it's your time to get in to like, if you actually have to do a written test or an online test, it will take time. A lot of waiting to renew your driver's license. And you finally get a person, right? You're like, they call it like where they process you in. They'll check your documents and all that. Okay, after they check it, they'll take it. Go to window 3. Wait for them to call your name. All right, so you'll sit there for like a good time, and then window 3 will call you, Ginno. So I'll come up to the window, and they're like, do something, check something. Go to window 5, get your picture taken. All right, so you got to go to window 5. You got to wait again there, and then after that you go. They take your picture. They take your fingerprints. Go to Windows 7. You gotta pay Windows 7, so you gotta wait. So it's not one person like taking care of the whole transaction. You're gonna be sent from one window to another, and it's confusing because like you're in this one room and it's packed with people, standing room only, and then sometimes the AC won't even work, so it's hot in there. So it's challenging, very challenging. Those are the kind of things that it's like. You won't know until you get here, and requires a lot of patience, and a lot of systems in the Philippines are like that. There's a lot, especially with like government agency here, you gotta be patient. You gotta be like, you gotta understand that this is the Philippines, and the different culture, different way of doing things. If you get into mindset where, oh, this is so inefficient, this is terrible, why don't they do this here, why don't they do this here, you're gonna be miserable, because it's like, it's not gonna change. The systems here don't change. Even the port here in Boracay Island, coming into Boracay Island, the port in Caticlan, because you have to catch the ferry to come here to Boracay Island. I've been going through that port for 14 years, coming in and out of Boracay. And that port has always been chaos. You don't know what's going on in that port, because it's like, if you're a tourist coming into that port, they're going to be like, go over here to check you in. Go to this window to get your environmental fee. Go to another window to get your terminal fee. Go to another window to buy your ticket. It's like, and then there's a long line at each of these windows. It's like, they've never fixed it. For 14 years, I've been coming in and out of Boracay. They've never fixed it. It's always chaos at the port here. If you're going to travel a lot outside of the PH, the hassle and cost of repeatedly paying for exit visa is not for me. I am going for the SRRV visa as soon as I get to the Philippines. Yes, in your military, you have an advantage, Daniel, my good friend Daniel, in Jacksonville, Florida. The military people here, we have an advantage with the SRRV because they don't require us the big, I think some of them require $10,000 deposit or $20,000 deposit. For military, the last time I looked anyway, I think the deposit is $1,500. That's minimal, that's minimal to get the SRRV. So that's a good option, that's a good option for you, Daniel. But like I said, some people, they're not military, so their deposits are higher, Daniel. That's why a lot of people, I know a friend of mine, Evro, he's like, man, I don't know if I want that kind of money sitting without earning any money, because it's not going to earn interest, and it's just going to sit there, and then so it's depreciating every year if you're not gaining interest, uh, that's why a lot of people don't go for the SRRV. Always bring travel size tissue or toilet paper with you when you're in the field, especially you're female. Yes, Tanya. That's why I mentioned that. That's why I mentioned, because like 9 times out of 10, when you go to a restroom in the Philippines, there is no toilet paper, there is no tissue. Dazzle and I, we've always just learned, Dazzle, she always bring like tissue and then baby wipe even, just to be, we carry. I have a fanny pack, my fanny pack has like a GoPro. I got it for free when I bought our first GoPro, and I pack everything there. I pack wipes in there. I pack alcohol in there to clean my hands. I pack a mask in there. I pack sunscreen in there, I'm like prepared for it. I pack an umbrella there when it's rainy season, just because you want to be prepared. You don't want to go use the toilet and there's all that. Whoa, there's nothing here. What's going on? Tita Marie, there's places where they charge 20 pesos to use the CR. Yes, there are. There are. You can also buy toilet paper. Yep. Sometimes there's no sink with running water. Bring wet wipes. That's what I'm saying. That's why I bring baby wipes, wet wipes, baby wipes, and a roll of toilet paper. Exactly. The funniest sign that I even took a picture of that sign in Calibo by Pastrana Park. There's 2 signs there. Like if you're entering the bathroom, it's like one sign you pay, I think, 5 pesos if you're peeing. And then you pay 10 if you're pooping. So I'm like, so if you pay 10, they know what you're doing in there. That was kind of funny. When I saw that, there's a picture actually that says, the payment system to get in. It's like 5 for pee, 10 for poop. I was like, what the heck? It's like, that's kind of funny. It's like, it's kind of like you're announcing what you're doing in the toilet, if you go in there. And then, yes, you can buy tissue, when you go into the bathroom. They sell it to you. You can and should start lots of paperwork in the USA before you travel. Yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing, Daniel, right? Before you come here to the Philippines, get all your documents. For sure, renew your passport. Even though you can, I've renewed my passport here by mail to the U.S. Embassy in Manila. No problem. Easy process. I got it in the mail within 30 days. But that would be one thing I would want, like a 10-year new passport before I would leave the U.S. And then your documents, bring your documents with you, or at least scan them, have it electronically saved somewhere. That way you have copies of birth certificate, if you gotten divorced, make copies of your divorce, because if you plan on marrying a Filipina here, most of your documents that have an electronic copy of it, at least scan it and have access to it. Because once you're here, it's hard to get documents in the U.S. because if anything has to be mailed to you from the U.S. To the Philippines, the mail here in the Philippines is not reliable. I never mail anything in the Philippine Postal Service. Nothing against them, but it's like terrible. Things don't get delivered here or get lost. You would have to like pay extra in the U.S. to mail documents to the Philippines. Use like FedEx or use UPS. Pay the extra, and then here in the Philippines, DHL. Those companies would deliver to you. But if it has to be delivered by the Philippine Postal Service here in the Philippines, it'll never get here. I've lost stuff that people send me from the U.S. Going through the Philippine postal system. Or if it makes it here, it'll be like 3 months later or 6 months later when you get it. It's not the same mailing system in America. Agree, Tita Marie. I always bring the wife. Yep, it's a mandatory thing. It's a mandatory thing here. If you're traveling in the Philippines, Though I think it's mandatory because like the CR, the restroom, toilet, they just won't have toilet paper and napkins to even when you wash your hands. There's no napkins to use. Sometimes they'll have the air dry if you're lucky. They have, but most of the time they don't. Most your fancy restaurants, of course, hotels, good establishments will have that, but not guaranteed. I've been to nice facilities before, and it surprises me how they won't have like toilet paper or tissue. Dennis Garcia, how's your health going? Oh, thank you, Dennis. Thank you for asking that. Uh, my health is good. It's like I was diagnosed with cancer, stage 3, Valentine's Day, 2023. And my ring the bell, ring the bell is your last day of treatment, was June of 2023. 26. So 26 of this month, I'll be like 2 years cancer free. Uh, the first year and a half, it was a struggle with recovery. And even now, it's like I'm getting to like 2 years cancer free. It's, there's still a lot of things I can't do anymore. I'm still immunocompromised. I have to be careful when I'm in a big crowd. I don't want to get any kind of sickness, like even a simple cold will take me, before you can recover in a week's time, a couple of days, take yourself some bio flu or something. If I get a cold even, it's like horrible. It'll like knock me down, because like my immune system is not strong. So I have to be very careful. I make sure I get plenty of rest, make sure I sleep well at night. Usually 8 p.m. I'm in bed. Even though I get up at 4:30, I make sure I get that 8 hours of sleep. I tire easy. Even here in Boracay, we're hanging out with my friend, it's like in Dazzle. If I'm walking around, all day, if I'm walking around, man, by 6 p.m., 7 p.m., I'm fading. I'm fading. I'm like, man, it's like it's a struggle. Even like pickleball, before I was a runner, I would run, 3 miles, 5 miles every other day, piece of cake. I've been a runner all my life. In the military, I was a runner. High school, I ran cross country track. And, so it's like, but now, even the simple pickleball, like Dazzle and I, we played like an hour. I had to take 2, 3 breaks during that because like, I don't have the endurance anymore. And that could be part of aging too, because I'll be 59 here soon. But overall, I would consider I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm thankful that I'm at least able to do more and more each day. I'm thankful that at least I'm cancer free. I know cancer can come back anytime. For me, it is what it is. I'm still going to continue living my life, enjoying every single day, being grateful for each day I have on this earth. If it comes back, if I get my cancer again, nothing I can do. All I can do is like, that's why like with our channel, I help a lot of people. I want to help people move here to the Philippines, retire. I never charge anybody money. It's like everything I provide is free because I just want to do good and be good, because like, hey, I could be gone tomorrow. I can be gone the next year. It's like maybe you'll buy me when it's my time to be judged. It's like maybe, hey, this guy's all right. At least he did something for other people. So, but overall, I would say I'm in decent health. I'm not like before my treatments, before my cancer treatments. I don't think I'll ever be like before. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I'm able to like enjoy, at least Dazzle and I, we get to enjoy Boracay. We're able to like walk together, exercise, play pickleball, do activities that slowly I'm doing more activities like that. JB, love the Air Force shirts, Gina. All right, man. I'm proud of my service. I'm always gonna be a patriot. I love my time in the Air Force. It wasn't always easy in the Air Force. It's like anybody that's joined the military knows that you get yelled at a lot. You get blamed for a lot of things. It's stressful. I think I Googled it one time. Being an enlisted person in the military is one of the most stressful job on earth. Because the demands on enlisted people, and I did 20 years of that. So I'm always proud of my service because it was a service to the country. I know there's politics now, there's like stuff going on in the U.S., but I'll always be a patriot. I'll always, if I have to defend America again, I will. It's like not even a question. I'm grateful for my life now. I'm grateful that I'm retired here in the Philippines. Grateful that I was able to retire at 45 years old. I know not many people can do that. And I was able to do that because of the United States Air Force and my service to the military. Jam Jamon, hey, how are you? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking, Jam Jamon. Edgar, I will like to travel, but much better with someone traveling with you. That's like exploring Philippines would be fun. Yes, definitely. I mean, it just makes easier to travel here once you meet somebody here, once you have a partner that you're here. It's more fun. It's like. And you'll have opportunity for that, Edgar. It's like the Philippines. I'm not gonna say it's like you'll come here and meet your Filipina and all that. But there's opportunities here. There's even a joke here in the Philippines, like with Filipinas. It's like I don't know if you've heard the word afam. Afam is AFAM. Afam is like a foreigner coming to the Philippines and wanting to meet a Filipina. And there's a kind of like a meme here, or like oh, you found your afam. When other Filipinas here, other Filipinos, when they find out that you met a foreigner, an afam, they're excited for you. They're like, wow, you met an afam. It's almost kind of like, because here in the Philippines, when you meet that afam, when you meet that foreigner, it changes the Filipina's life, for the better, because opportunities are there for the Filipina. And Filipinas here know that, that's why, for me, people make a big deal about age gap relationships, they make a big deal, older foreigners coming here, dating Filipinas in their 20s, in their 30s, they make a big deal. But for me, as long as you're both adults, it's like, I think that's just the Western culture. I know in America, they frown on that. If like a 55-year-old, a 65-year-old is dating a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old, they're gonna frown about that. You're gonna be like, they're look at it as like, oh, that's not good, But here in the Philippines, it's like 25, 30 is still an adult, It's like, and as long as the two adults are like happy together, they're in love, it's like nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Plus, for me, I always tell people that come here that starts dating, younger Filipina, it's like, just do you, Don't be concerned about what other people are gonna say, what other people are gonna think. Just do you. It's your life, It's like you can't live your life, your whole life, worried about what other people are gonna say or do. Do what makes you happy, especially as we get older. We just want to be happy. We want a peaceful life. We want to find a partner that we enjoy spending our day, that you're happy that you're with every day. It's like, why let other people like ruin your happiness? That I don't get. I always tell people, man, just do you. It's like, a lot of times this is a second chance for a lot of people that come to the Philippines when they come here to find a partner, to start a new life, JB Manaling, research prepares you a little, then reality will be a little bit different. Yes. Just need to be prepared for the unexpected. And as Ron says, have patience. Exactly. I mean, I think I've done a couple of videos regarding that. What I say is like, you can do all the research you want, you can well prepared, you can have a notebook, have your notes, you can do all that. But until you get here, boots on the ground, until you get here, you don't know the real experience. That's when you're really gonna know if the Philippines is for you or not. Because what you see on videos, what people like me, what we present to you, that's how I look at things. That's how I view things. But it's you when you get here that's gonna be like, oh, I didn't, Gino didn't tell me this. It's gonna be you that all I'm trying to do is trying to show you the picture. Like patience. You're gonna need patience here. It's like driving here. If you decide to drive here or even ride a motorbike, it is not gonna be the same driving or the same motorbike riding in America. I don't care how experienced a motorbike rider you are in America. I don't care if you say to me, oh, I've been riding motorbikes in the US. I've had like 5 motorbikes. I've been riding motorbikes 25 years in the US. When you come here and ride a motorbike in this traffic in the Philippines, it's different. People zoom, 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 people like cut you, it's like, that's going to be a big adjustment because, in the US, if somebody cuts you off, I'll be like, oh, that's not a good thing. You're ready to like swing blows with somebody or at least yell at them. Here in the Philippines, if you can't take that, like somebody's gonna cut in front of you or somebody just like all of a sudden make a U-turn in the middle of the road and blocks you, those are the kind of things that you won't know until you're here or until you're on a motorbike and you're going like, wow, did I just see that? Wow, until you get here, until your boots in the ground, it's like there's still a lot of things that you're gonna have to learn once you get here. The first year is like to me, the first year in the Philippines is the big adjustment period. No matter how many videos you watch, no matter how much research you do, when you come here, your first year, you're gonna go, ooh, I didn't know about that. Or you're gonna see something like, that's never happened before. I've never seen that before. Because that happens to me. That happens to me. There's still things here that's like, ooh, that's a first. Like that's a first. And I've been here 14 years. I'll be like, whoa, I've never seen that before. It's almost kind of like expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. Tanya, all right. Are there long-term care homes in the Philippines? I've heard about them, Tanya, but I really haven't seen it. I know I've heard like they're I might have to do more research maybe in like Cebu City. I've heard like IT Park might have something long-term. It's not a popular thing in the Philippines, assisted living, nursing home. That's just not popular in the Philippines because here in the Philippines, the elderly, their family takes care of them. Usually when somebody becomes elderly or somebody needs care, a family member, they end up going to somebody's house and a family member will take care of them. Very common, like, Olola, Lolo, to be around. It's like, it's not like in the US where there's a lot of assisted living, there's a lot of nursing homes. Here, I have known Americans, and I've known there's one now that's a friend of mine. They're bringing, they have elderly parents. They're in their 80s, and they're moving to Iloilo City. They found a home. I think they're renting the home first, and they're customizing like the bottom floor of the room for their parents. They're bringing their elderly parents here in the Philippines. You could do that. You can hire somebody here that's going to be maybe not a nurse because that's going to cost money even in the Philippines if you hire a private nurse. But I do know there's people that got that kind of money. There's people that have nurses that work in their home. But you can find like a helper. You can find a helper like in the province here. I would say a helper, a live-in helper, you can probably get it for 10,000 pesos a month. About $200 a month, you can find a helper. You can get a 2-bedroom, have the helper live in one room, and if you need care, if you need assistance to go to the bathroom, things like that, you don't need like a nursing degree to like do that, But it's easy to set up something if you're thinking of like bringing your elderly parents here to the Philippines. There's a lot of that going on. I know there's a lot of people doing that because the cost of assisted living in the US, even the cost of nursing homes in the Philippines, I know people have told me are like extremely high. It's not cheap. And then, somebody that's like on Social Security, if they're getting Social Security, easily they, depending on how much it is, because I know, depending on how much a month that you can get something set up here where somebody can maybe come in every day to take care of your cleaning your house or cooking for you or going to the public market. And they might not need to be a live-in, but they could, I know you can hire people. I mean, there's so many people here in the Philippines without work. It's like, if you make an arrangement like that, you'll find people willing to help, as long as you pay them. As long as you pay them. Read travel books and watch YouTube to learn about where you want to travel to. It's a great help to enjoy your trip. Yeah, Dazzle and I do that all the time. Before we went to Singapore, our first time going to Dumaguete, our first time going to Bohol, we did watch a lot of videos because it helps you, because like, maneuvering Grab or taxi, or how much the hotels are, where to eat, that's what we usually do when we travel. We'll watch a lot of YouTube videos of the area, just so it give us an idea. JP, do they have trade schools or community college that teach things like welding, including machining, auto technician? Yes, JP, but most of those are for Filipinos. They have this thing here in the Philippines called TESDA, TESDA. It's actually paid by the government, and sometimes the people that go to TESDA, the vocational school, sometimes they even get an allowance from the government, like if you want to become a barista. That's popular here because, Philippines is tourist, especially in our province of Aklan. If you want to be a barista, you want to be a bartender, you want to be like waiter, hotel, restaurant manager, kitchen help, they have TESDA, like vocational schools with that. And I'm sure, I know, I'll have to check. Because there's welders here. A lot of times the welders here, JP, they just learn from dad, uncle, grandpa. It's kind of handed down, Same thing with carpentry. There's really no licensing here. Like here in the province anyway, maybe in Manila, in the cities, maybe they have like licensing. But here, if I need something done in my house, like plumbing, if I need something like pest control, anything, or roof repair or anything, it's usually, they call it panday, Panday, panday. It's basically some dude that, hey, my dad taught me how to do this. There's no like the people that I've used in my house to do the repairs in my house, none of them are licensed. None of them are like, has like a degree or vocational school that they attended. A lot of things are handed down generation to generation, like a machinist, some guy, or welding is some guy, they have a little shop that's their business. And junior, when he gets a little older, junior's like there learning from dad. That's kind of how things are work here. But there are, auto mechanic, there's like many auto mechanics here. And I'm sure TESDA, that would be the first place I would look. If you're interested in doing that. But you're a foreigner, so I don't know the rules, whether they will allow you to attend those schools. Might be easier just to learn from somebody that's actually doing it. Like if you want to learn carpentry, might be easier to just find a carpenter that has a shop and do an apprentice with him and just pay him and learn from him. Might be easier to do that than trying to, once you start getting into wanting to go to school here in the Philippines, things like that, as a foreigner, you run into like that student visa. They might require you to have a student visa. So morality is subjective. All right. Like, all right. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much. Charla Road. Hello, Charla. Said hi. All right. Kevin Shore. Hi, Ginno. Everything is going good. I mean, we're having a blast here in Boracay. We're, I think, day 17 today here in Boracay. So it's been awesome. We got about 2 more weeks here in Boracay. Then we're back home. Get back to our life in Numancia, Aklan. back to Bumblebee, back to driving my car, back to Calibo and all that. But we're Dazzle and I definitely with Chloe. We have Chloe with us. We're having a great time here in Boracay Island. I'm really glad that we were able to do this. I'm really glad that we were able to just me and Dazzle spending our time here in Boracay. I mean, we met friends here during our stay here, people we hang out with, but you know, it's still Dazzle and I. At the end of the day, it's just me and her vacationing here. How's the weather today? Must be good. I can hear the roosters. Well, it's sunny now. Earlier there was like a little bit of rain, but now it's sunny. Yesterday was awesome. Yeah, I filmed in Diniwid Beach yesterday. The one thing I noticed, the algae and the seaweed, they're back at Diniwid Beach, but the front beaches was still no algae, no. I guess it gets washed into shore, and Diniwid is kind of like a cove. You know, it's a cove in Diniwid, so. It gets washed on that cove. It gets stuck. It gets stuck on that cove. But White Beach is gorgeous, man. Like it's like sun was up yesterday, blue water. Man, it's like amazing. It looked amazing, and it didn't rain yesterday. Sunny all day yesterday. We were walking around White Beach yesterday. I had my hat, I had my umbrella because it was hot. It started getting hot, even though there's still slight breeze, man. It was hot yesterday. Probably gonna be hot again today because I'm looking. It's sunny already, and you could hear the roosters. You can always hear the roosters, man. Roosters, really, man. All throughout the day, you can hear them here. Just wondering, you've been getting your pension since you were 37. Is it keeping up with inflation? It's been over 20 years. Yes, Micah, good question, good question. Because our military pension, we get what's called the cost of living allowance. It's the same thing with Social Security. Like Social Security gets a cost of living allowance. Usually it's not big every year, 2%, sometimes 3%, sometimes lower. But there was a couple of years, maybe 5, 6 years ago, back to back, we got like 8%. It was like, man, it blew me away. But, so my pension's grown, from the time I was 37 to now I'm going to be 59 here in a month and a half. My pension has grown, so it's keeping up with inflation, especially here in the Philippines, because we don't have the astronomical inflation that's happening in other countries. Here in the Philippines, like I'll give you an example. My apartment, I had an apartment in Calibo, 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment in Calibo. Rented that apartment 2012 to 2016 while I was going to college in Calibo for 4 years. My rent was 7,000 pesos. That's about $130, $140. The same apartment now, same building. They actually remodeled the building, repainted the building and everything. It's 8,000 pesos. That's like from 13 years later, the rent only increased by 1,000 pesos or $18. So that's why the Philippines is affordable. And if you live here in the province, because they have to make it affordable for people, fruits, vegetables, you don't have that skyrocketing inflation that's happening in other countries, because the province people, they're not going to pay a lot of money for produce and vegetables because most people plant it. Most people plant it. Most people here in the province got chickens. So you can't sell egg expensive. When I say expensive, eggs here, you can still buy an egg here for 7 pesos each. You can buy a dozen eggs here for like $1.50, $2. You can buy a dozen eggs, fresh eggs. Coming out of the chicken almost, that fresh, so that's why many people are moving to the Philippines because I don't care what, other bloggers say, it's expensive in the Philippines now, prices are out of control. Maybe they're living in BGC, maybe they're living in like a Cebu City, an IT park, in a condominium, but I know the people in the province, man, it hasn't increased prices here because the locals have to afford it. You can't raise prices here for rent and food and supplies you can't raise them too high in Aklan province because how would the locals afford it? They have to make everything affordable here. In Aklan province, our main industry here, of course, is tourism, Boracay Island, but majority of Aklan province is either farming or fishing. We got oversupply of rice here. Maybe other parts of the Philippines, I hear prices of rice is going up. Like if you live in Manila, I'm sure, because they got to ship it there. Man, in our town of Numancia, man, our mayor's giving away rice. It's like we got so much surplus of rice. During campaign season, these politicians, they're giving away rice here. Lucita, all right, Lucita. Hi, Ginno, good morning. Hope everything is well, Lucita. Thank you. Hope everything is good in Maine. Maine, I know you're from Maine. It won't keep up with inflation in US, but should still be okay living in PH provinces, but not in Manila. Thank you, JB, because I don't know about it. I was born and raised in Manila. I was born in Tondo, Manila, but I wouldn't want to live in Manila. It's just, that's not the kind of life I want to live. The traffic, the pollution, the garbage, the noise, that to me, that's not retirement, living in Manila. Now, I'm not bashing them or anything, but retirement to me is living in a peaceful community where I can walk, I can go to the beach, it's like a quiet life is what I look for. And it's affordable in the provinces. Like you said, not in Manila, man, you go to BGC, they got places in BGC, all the way up to like $2,000 a month for some of those condominiums, 2-3 bedroom condos, penthouse view, but you're living like the high life, what I consider the high life there. Not for me. That's why I choose the province. Even at 10K deposit, it's worth it because you can save 1K to 3K every month just in your cost of living compared to the US. Yeah, that's why, many people, I know, Daniel, are taking advantage of the SRRV visa here in the Philippines. I know. You see on YouTube people leaving the Philippines and all that, but I don't know. I'll have to do like a Google AI or whatever. But from what I'm seeing, I'm here. From what I'm seeing, it's more people moving to the Philippines than leaving the Philippines. More Americans are coming to the Philippines than people that are here going back to America. That I can see that because like the people I deal with, it's like the minute they come here to the Philippines, they don't leave. It's like I have not had a subscriber that came to the Philippines to move here that left to go back to America. I just never had one. I had one, Jack. He actually lived in this Airbnb here for many months. He's in Thailand now because he prefers Thailand because Jack struggled with the food here in Boracay, food in the Philippines. He's used to more American food, the carinderia food, the things that they serve didn't attract him. He loves his life in Thailand because it's similar to the food that he ate in America. Pasta, salad, the things that he recognizes. He just told me there was a lot of food here in the Philippines that he didn't recognize, and nothing wrong with that. That's why I told that's why I told people. It's like, man, it's like you're not gonna know if you're gonna like the Philippines until you try it, And it's not for everyone. The Philippines is not for everyone. Many come here and decide it's not for me. I gotta find somewhere else, But most of them, when they come here, if they do leave, they go to another Southeast, Asian country. They'll go to Cambodia, they go to Vietnam, or they go, very few Americans that retire or move to Southeast Asia, not happy with the Philippines, go back to the U.S. A lot of times, like I said previously, a lot of times they meet a Filipina here, and the Filipina that they meet wants to go to America, so they end up going to America. I think the life in America now, especially as you're getting older, I know I have a lot of subscribers that I've helped now move to the Philippines. The one thing I find in common with them is they're living on Social Security alone in the United States and they can't afford it, or they don't, the quality of life living in the US on Social Security alone. And some of them got savings, but if they're getting like $1,500, $1,500 a month on Social Security, it's a struggle to live on that in America. But here in the Philippines, if you're single, you have $1,500 a month, you have a little bit of savings, you can have a good life here in the Philippines. Now, it won't be the life at BGC, it won't be the life at IT Park in Cebu City, but you can find areas in the Philippines that live in a province close to a decent hospital. Like here in Aklan province, we have Asia Pacific Medical Center that opened in Calibo like a year and a half ago. Great facility. They even have dentistry there. They even have like an emergency room, a legit emergency room. So there's places like that. You just have to do your research the area before you go to that area. Don't go to an area assuming they got good medical care. To me, that's a bad move. First thing you should be doing is figuring out your medical care here in the Philippines. Figuring out, okay, I'm picking Leyte, or I'm picking Samar, or I'm picking Davao. That's where I want to go. But don't just go there without knowing what kind of hospitals they have here. Research the hospitals. Go in those Facebook groups that people like the Davao group or Dumaguete group. Go in those groups. Find out from people living there already. Hey, bro, what kind of hospital you got in there? What kind of medical care can I expect there? That's the kind of important research that if you're moving here, that's a must, in my opinion. That's what I did, years back. I was trying to figure out, because, you're going to get older here. If you retire here in the Philippines, if you come here retired, we're all going to get older and we're all going to need medical care. So very important, very important. Did you get your treatment in the Philippines or the USA? Which would be best for cancer PH? Dennis, I chose to get my care here in the Philippines. For me, I have a medical background. It's like I worked over 27 years in the medical field. I worked in medical administration, worked in the military hospitals, and then 7 years in Tucson, Arizona at St. Mary's Hospital. So I have a medical background. I did my research. I was like, when I got diagnosed, I'm looking at the treatments in the US, treatments here in the Philippines. They're about the same. They're using the same chemo. They're using cisplatin and gemcitabine. The radiation machine is the same radiation machine. So to me, I had to balance it out whether it's for me. I'm not saying get your medical care in the Philippines. I'm not promoting the Philippines or anything. But I decided to get my treatments in Iloilo City. I received 12 chemo treatments at Medical City Iloilo, covered by my insurance. I have TRICARE medical insurance in America. So they paid part of my chemo treatments. And then my 33 radiation treatments in Iloilo City, also Medicus Cancer Institute, also my insurance covered it. So for me, the balance was an easy choice for me. I know I had relatives in the US, I had relatives here in the Philippines. They're all telling me, go to the US, you're going to get better medical care there. But for me, I had to balance it out to where I knew I was going to get the same treatments anyway. And then I'm covered by my insurance here. The thing that balanced it for me was Dazzle and her family's here. My dogs are here. That's even important to me, that my dogs are here. I didn't want to leave all that and go to the US. And I no longer have a home in the US. I no longer have a car in the US. I would have had to go to live with a relative in the US or a friend in the US. And I did not want to burden anybody with that, because I already know what people go through the US. You don't want somebody in your house that's can't go into cancer treatments. That would be depressing for somebody. 4 months of cancer treatments for me. So, and Dazzle and I went to Iloilo City. We rented a condominium. It was just Dazzle and I there. But my dogs were well taken care of by Dazzle's family. And then there was times during my 4 months, Dazzle and I will drive home to see our dogs, to hang out with family. So for me, looking back, I'm glad that's the way I handled it, because family and being with your loved ones and not being stressed, Very important when you're in my opinion, again, very important when you're going to cancer treatments. You need that family support. You need the people that that loves you. To be surrounded with people that loves you. I know that helped during my treatments and in my recovery. I know in the U.S., man, if I had to like live with my sister or live with a friend, that's a big burden to somebody to be in their house for 4 months and I'm going through treatments and they got to drive me or I got to take a bus. It was just a lot easier for me. And now that I went through that, I know there's no reason for me to go back to the U.S. Even if I have a heart attack, even if I need like a quadruple bypass surgery, I'm doing it in Iloilo City. They have doctors here in the Philippines that do the same thing. Doctors here in the Philippines that are trained in America. You can go to Manila, you can go to BGC, St. Luke's Hospital, Makati Medical Hospital. They got people here that are trained in America, certified doctors even in America. So it's not like you're getting bad medical care. You got to do your research now. Not all hospitals in the Philippines are created equal. Same thing in the U.S. Not all hospitals in the U.S. are created equal. I know. I work at Carondelet Health Network in Arizona. You got good hospitals in America. You also have not so good hospitals in America. So, Air Force, all right. Lucita, you and Dazzle are my favorite. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So kind, Lucita. So kind. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support of our channel. Thank you so much. Balikbayan ka. Hey, good morning, my brother. Good morning. Kumusta? Mabuti. Mabuti ako, kapatid. We're okay. 34C here today. Ooh, 34. Man, that's pretty warm. That's pretty warm. Hot like the Philippines. Hot like the Philippines. Thank you. Thank you for coming online, Balikbayan guy. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it is kind of warm today. The past couple of days, this balcony here has been breezy, but this balcony is enclosed because to avoid the rain splashing it. That's why I'm able to do the live stream. But today I'm feeling a little bit of sweat here this morning because looks like it's gonna be a hot day here in Boracay Island also. JB Manalang, serving 20 years in the military should be good training to be with. Well, all I can say, JB, 20 years in the military prepared me for everything else the rest of my life. Not just meeting a Filipina, relationships, even going through cancer treatments, retiring here. Nothing that I can face now, now that I'm 59 soon, nothing I can face here in the Philippines. I owe it to the military. It prepared me, even patience. The military prepared me for that because in the military, everything in the military was like, hurry up and go, hurry up and wait. We're always early for everything. We're always like, rush, get there. And then we have to wait a long time. Like when we have to deploy, when we have exercises in the military, you're like, rush, get your mobility bag, all your gear, your helmet, your flak vest, your boot, you're carrying all your gear, rush to check in. And then once you check in, you're going to sit there for hours, hurry up and wait. That was our motto in the military. So like I said, the military prepared me for the rest of my life. Any challenges that I faced in my life after the military, seem easy, even like when I went through cancer treatments, those radiation treatments, those chemo treatments, even my military mindset was even like, I'm always thinking like one treatment at a time, don't think about next week, don't think about next month, do now, worry about now. What are they doing to me? What IV, what kind of like, treatment am I getting? I focus on one day at a time. And that military taught me that. Vaughn, happy Father. All right, happy Father's Day. Happy Father. This is my Father's Day gift from Dazzle. She got me this light. That's my father. Oh, and Dazzle said she's gonna get me gelato. Gelato for my happy Father's Day. Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, my brother. JP, embrace the unexpected. It is, JP. To me, that when I say expect the unexpected, I say that with fun, with adventure, because to me, sometimes when we plan out everything, everything's like in our mind how everything's planned. Sometimes it loses the fun in things. It's fun to experience like new experiences, the unexpected, like you know I'm gonna be 59 soon, but like when something happens to me, an experience that Dazzle and I experienced that's new, I find that exciting. I find that fun. It's like it makes you appreciate life more when you experience new things, when you see new things. Like I know, like when Dazzle and I travel, when I see like a waterfalls, it's not the first time I've seen a waterfalls, but every time I'm like amazed. Every time I'm like thankful that nature has something to do with that too. Even here in Diniwid, when I do my morning walks, there's a certain time when I'm walking on the beach and I'm all alone on the beach. I'm listening to the waves and just the feeling of gratitude. The feeling of gratitude. You start feeling it. You're like, man, I'm happy how my life turned out. The feeling of gratefulness, the feeling of being blessed. It's amazing. It's a good feeling to have. JB Manalan. Well said, JB. All right. I heard on YouTube channel, Fly to the Philippines in, think the name is, they had a couple talking about opening, assisted living. Yeah, I mean, that could be something here in the Philippines, I know like at Clark Air Base, the military base at Clark, I know the base housing there because I've walked it, I filmed it before. The base housing, the enlisted housing, the officer housing. A lot of those were. I don't think you can buy the homes. I think they're on a lease, like a long lease, like a 50-year lease or something. But a lot of Koreans, a lot of elderly Koreans. That's where it's become like a hub for elderly Koreans in Angeles City. Angeles City, anyway, in the Philippines, if you go to Angeles City, they have Koreatown there. Coming out where the old Friendship Gate used to be. If you come out of the Friendship Gate, there's Koreatown. Everything's like Korean restaurants, shops, grocery. And then inside Clark, the old Clark Air Base, there's a lot of retirees. In the condominiums, they set up condominiums in the old enlisted housing. A lot of retired Koreans living there because you see them like when Dazzle and I would walk the parade grounds at sunset. We're looking around. It's like, man, there's a lot of Koreans here, elderly Koreans. So, if somebody opened assisted living or something like that in the Philippines, it would be a hit, not just for the Filipinos to use, but other foreigners like bringing in people because they can set something up here in the Philippines at way cheaper cost. If you open assisted living here in the Philippines, and then you don't have to mess with all the regulations. I know, like I'm like I said, I'm medical administration in the U.S. Opening assisted living in the U.S. is like complicated because of all the rules that you gotta, state rules, federal rules, regulations that you gotta follow. Man, in the Philippines, there's not a lot of that. Not a lot of that here in the Philippines. Most businesses here in the Philippines you can open, with minimal. As long as you get your mayor's permit and then a couple more fire permit, you're good to go. It's not over regulated. That's what I'm saying. Michael, all right, Michael C. in the Philippines. Good morning, bro. Hey, good morning, my brother. Good morning. Do you have your Copico Blanco, bro? I know you sent me a picture of the Copico Blanco, man. Hey, Janet, all right. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Janet. Balik with the warm regards. All right, Vegas, warm regards. Thank you for joining us this morning, Janet. Meow, that's funny. Thank you. Hi, Mom, Janet. How are you today? All right. I'm glad you made it, Janet. Thank you everyone for joining. Balikban, Janet, thank you. God bless everyone. Belus, hey, happy Father's Day. Hey, thank you, happy Father's Day, my friend, happy Father's Day. Balikban, protest. I have to stay on top of that all the. Hey, Michael, say happy Father's Day. Thank you, my brother Michael. Thank you so much, bro. Yeah, I have today after when I have time today, I'm gonna have to watch some of that protest going on. I did watch that things happening in LA. I did watch that. HD had mentioned that land is so expensive in Antique. We were planning to build a house, no longer the plan. Thinking of buying a condo in Bora. Well, yeah, I mean, condo, I mean, it's not cheap. Condominiums here in Boracay, they're getting up there, the one subscriber he mentioned, he bought a condo in Boracay at Nuco 7 years ago. He got in at a good time 7 years ago, man. Now, it's climbing up there in price. We are pretty blessed to have an opportunity to retire in a foreign country on America. Let's hope. Yes, of course. It's like we are blessed, man. For me to have the life I've had the last 14 years, I mean, I'm so thankful. Thankful that it's like that's why I'll always be grateful for America. I'm always going to be grateful for the United States Air Force because it allowed me to retire here early in the Philippines and have the kind of life that I have, a fun life, an enjoyable life, not a lot of stress life. And I know I've been blessed. I'm thankful for the life I have here because what I'm seeing in America, a lot of people don't have the kind of life I have here in the Philippines. Yeah, I don't take a day here in the Philippines for granted. Is it safe where oh yes, I've never had any issue here safe wise in Aklan province, Panay Island. I've been here 14 years, never had an incident of crime at all. It's like people are friendly here, people are good people here. I have many friends, both local, foreigners, expats. Great place to retire, great place to live. When do you retire, Tita? Will you move to permanently? All right, JB. Should try MR. Should try Jack. No. Jack has a certain palate, Daniel, and I don't blame him. He's used. I think Jack was a pastry chef. He's a pastry chef in the U.S. That was one of his jobs when he was still working. So he's particular about his food. And nothing wrong with that. He just enjoys the food in Thailand more. He says the food is fresh, more like salads, more. Filipinos aren't big on salad. They're more becoming more available, but even the lettuce limited. It's not a thing. A garden salad is not common for Filipinos to eat. Unlike my friend Jack was saying in Thailand, they got certain arugula, they got beets, they got all kinds of stuff, different salads that he's able to produce, and cheaper, he said, cheaper even. Like I said, Philippines is not for everyone. Tita Marie, I'm retired already, JB. How about you? We travel 6 months every year. We avoid the. All right, Tita Marie, avoid the Canadian. I can't blame you. I've seen my friend David. He's in Canada. He sends me videos all the time of the. He lives by a frozen lake. He shows me his car. He's got a shovel snow during the winter. So I know about that. That's why. We can't retire full-time in the PH. We don't want to lose our medical. Yes, that's important, Tita Marie. And that's what a lot of people, like I guess in Canada, you have to, you can't spend many months away or else you'll lose your medical benefits. And that's important. I've just been lucky. I have medical coverage here from TRICARE military medical insurance. I would have not been able to retire here if TRICARE wasn't here. That's why some people, they'll bash TRICARE. They'll say it's terrible. It's not like TRICARE in the U.S. Yes, it's not like TRICARE in the U.S., but I'm thankful I have TRICARE, because if I didn't have TRICARE, then how I have to pay it out of pocket. So to me, paying 25% copay, I'll take that instead of paying 100% out of pocket. Do you buy travel insurance coverage for the half of the year traveling? Not retired yet, Tita. 4 more years and will retire 45, but planning to move permanent to PH from Sydney. All right, Sydney, Australia. All right, JB. Now I know where you live, JB. Yes, Tanya, we have full travel insurance through our credit card company. Hubby is ex-Navy, so we piggyback on all the insurance coverage. That's great. That's great. You want as much medical insurance to have, like me. Even though I have TRICARE medical insurance, ever since I landed here in the Philippines, I bought that PhilHealth. The PhilHealth is like an insurance card. It's not like a full insurance here in the Philippines, but it helps. It gives you discount. It gave me discount on my radiation. My radiation treatment cut it in half, the cost, because I had PhilHealth. So for me, and PhilHealth for expats that are not dual citizen like me, it's 17,000 pesos a year. So less than $300 a year, about $300 for a year's worth of coverage. My friend Brian from Texas, he got PhilHealth, and his Filipino spouse is included in his PhilHealth. So to me, it can hurt. The more insurance you have, the better, because medical costs can get up there. The more coverage you got, the better. That's not always good to retire young. Better mobility, sanity. Exactly. That's why I love that comment, Tita Marie, because to me, I've always advised people, if you can afford retirement financially, if you're financially well off, it's I always tell them, man, retire as soon as you can, because once you start getting up there, I see it with some of our subscribers. They decided to retire, at collecting full benefit Social Security, 67, I see it, they're not as mobile as if they had took it at 62 or retired before Social Security, because there's a lot of people here in the Philippines that they're not collecting Social Security yet. They're not 62, the earliest they can get it. They're like 58, 59 like me, 61. But they're retiring already because it's I have savings. I can manage it before I hit 62. They're jumping that retirement train, man, because it's if the longer you wait, the less time you'll have to enjoy it. And then, people assume, well, I'll travel, I'll do things when I'm 67 or 70. It's not easy. I've seen it in my own eyes. People that reach that age, that it's not easy. I even feel it, now that I'm going to be 59 because of my cancer treatments. I don't move like I used to, or I don't have patience for traveling, or I don't want to be lugging suitcases when I travel because I'm not as strong as I used to be. Did you make E7? Yes, I'm retired E7. I'm a retired Master Sergeant in the United States Air Force. 20 years active duty. Balik, sorry, I had to take a call. She showed me up the Northeast and it's very congested. Hey, happy Father's Day, Ray, my good friend in Sacramento. All right, happy Father's Day, my brother. Balik, very sad. Oh man, there are more. Minnesota, I'll have to look at that. Janet, thank you for sharing that. Hi, Ginno. Find joy in the journey. I apply to the good or the... Yes, it's the, totally agree with you, Mary. Like here in the Philippines, I have fun retiring here. I've had a good experience, but there's a lot of things that happen to me here in the Philippines where I go, that I wish didn't happen to me, like buying a used car. That was a horrible experience. I would not recommend buying a used car, not in the province anyway, man. That car was horrible. And I've had, things that I didn't enjoy here, but like I said, enjoy the journey. Mom Janet, sorry to hear. Best to stay in. Yes, yes. Stay safe. Stay safe, Janet. Tita Marie, vlogger ka din? Gusto ko din mag 6 months Canada, Philippines. Oh yeah, good that you're communicating. That's good that, yes, it's cool. We will jump into summer Tuesday. We are 70s. Eek! 70s. That's not bad. 70s is not bad. Can get hot in the summertime. All right, my grandson will be. All right, I'm just gonna go through the things here. I'm getting to like the 2-hour mark. That's usually when I cut the live stream, and then we have to take our friend Gray to the airport. So support lang YouTube vlogging is too stressful, Tita Marie. Thank you for the support, Tita Marie. Thank you for the support. Balik, yes, I'm not allowed out in hot weather. All right, Ginno, may God blanket. Thank you so much, Janet. Appreciate. So kind of you. Just do what you can, but don't overdo it. Yes, don't overdo. Thank you for serving to protect us. I'm retired. Oh, awesome. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that, Janet. Hey, that's the thing. When I see the protests and things, I'm a patriot, man. I'm always going to side with law enforcement. I'm always going to side with the military. We're just doing our job. When we get put in that, nobody wants to, like I see on TV, like the protection, like to clear some of the protesters. Nobody, that's, when you get called like for a duty like that, you're putting your life in the line, So I have much respect for law enforcement. I'm a law-abiding citizen, military, because they're protecting us. They're protecting us. Thank you on behalf of that. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm sure they like visiting grandma. Oh, but like we assist our only daughter, give them quality beliefs. Many bash America, but it allows you to retire around the world and system, but maybe. Yes, exactly, right? It's like I could never retire here in the Philippines without America and my pension from America. So I'm not going to bash that. I'm always going to be grateful for the opportunities I had in America. It's like I have a good life here in the Philippines because of America. Between two channels, no worries. I'm gonna end the live stream here anyway, Janet. I'm just trying to finish through the things here. I don't want to like miss anybody. I have Phil Health, medic. Yes, see, that's good. That's good, right? I have to run, Ginno. Yeah, okay, all right. Me too. I got to run too, man. I got to get ready to take my friend. All right, I reached the bottom. All right, I reached the bottom. Looking for a good sound insurance that will not break me. Yes. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all. Thank you so much for joining the live stream this morning. God bless you all. I appreciate you supporting our channel. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.